The Bourne Supremacy is directed by Paul Greengrass, not Doug Liman, who directed the first film, and once again, Matt Damon fills the shoes of Jason Bourne, a guy who in the first film washed up onto a boat somewhere with no memory, and as the events of that film progressed, he realized that he is actually the most badass assassin that ever lived. And now, armed with all of these skills and some knowledge of his past, he attempts to piece things together and find the people who did this to him, because now he has a different lease on life. He met Marie and fell in love with her, and now they're in hiding, and even though he's the same person he used to be, mentally he's completely different. He doesn't want to be an assassin anymore, because as he pieced together his former life, he began to realize that he hates that life, and he wants a different life now, but people are still after him because he's now left this organization, he's gone rogue. There are people sent to kill him like Karl Urban, and now we have an awesome movie. Spoiler warning, if you've never seen The Bourne Supremacy, I highly suggest checking it out. You've been warned. Karl Urban kills Marie in the very opening of this movie, and that sets Jason Bourne on a path of revenge. And from then on, he barely speaks a word. Doug Liman set up a great world. As I said in my review of The Bourne Identity, The Bourne Identity to me is more of a character piece with some great action sequences thrown in. The Bourne Supremacy is a straight-up thriller. There's not as much character building going on in this movie. It's far more of a revenge movie. In the first film, Chris Cooper was hunting Jason Bourne, and Brian Cox was also involved. But their effort was more of a wipe the slate clean type of thing. They wanted to erase past errors that they knew could come back on them. In this film, Joan Allen's character is introduced and Brian Cox is still around, and they're at odds with each other because Brian Cox's character is still trying to wipe that slate clean. He's still nervous about mistakes he's made in the past that Bourne could bring to light, where Joan Allen just wants to find him and wants to know the truth, and she has her own suspicions about what Brian Cox and his organization had done in the past. And these two going head to head while Bourne is out there on a revenge path is actually really riveting. It's one of the things I like more about Supremacy than Identity. The behind the scenes stuff of the people hunting Bourne is far more riveting and compelling than it was in Identity, because they throw in a better adversarial relationship between Brian Cox and Joan Allen, and these two butting heads makes it a lot more fun. For me, Supremacy is really the movie where Damon became Jason Bourne. In the first movie, he's just a guy, and you're trying to figure out why he can do all these things, and so is he. Towards the end of the movie, when he learns who he really is, we don't have much time to really spend with him as that hardened assassin. And in this movie, along with the death of the person he loves, he truly becomes that hard, stone-cold assassin that everyone fears. And you can really see that fear on everyone's faces, especially his enemies. And what Greengrass brought to this movie was an extremely fast pace, and a lot of that is due to editing. The median shot length is very, very, very small. It's like barely a second or something. It's slightly over a second. There are tons of cuts in this movie, and where that normally annoys me, Greengrass captures beautiful shaky cam. That's just my opinion. Some people hate it. The majority of the time I do hate it, but I think he is one of the few directors who's able to make it work. And one of the reasons it works so well is because of expert sound design. Without that sound design, you wouldn't really know sometimes what's actually happening. There's really just one scene in this movie where the shaky cam went way too far for me, and that's the fight scene between Bourne and this other assassin. It's really bad, actually. You can't tell what's going on. It's acted well. You can tell that there is choreography and that they're doing a good job with it, but the camera is far too shaky. And we'll talk more about that in Bourne Ultimatum, because Greengrass really improved that for Ultimatum. But here, I think he failed to present a compelling fight scene because that shaky cam technique did not work for that. But for the car chases and for the rest of the movie, it really added a riveting sense of realism. Something else I love about all the Bourne movies, but this one in particular, is that both car chases, the one at the beginning and the one at the end, use real cars. And what I mean by that is that they're not Aston Martins, they're not Mustangs, they're not GTOs, they're not these incredible old muscle cars or newer muscle cars like you'd seen in a Transformers movie. They're just an everyday car. And that brings it back to that realism I keep talking about, this everyday sense of things that you can relate to in these big action set pieces. And the final car chase in this movie is my favorite of any of the Bourne films. It's absolutely white-knuckled. It is so exciting because Bourne is injured. Karl Urban is after him. There's that great part where he takes a swig of alcohol and spits it in this cop's face to get out of there. Also, this film easily has the most touching ending of the original trilogy, where Bourne goes to visit the daughter of the parents that he now remembers murdering to ask for forgiveness, because this girl has grown up thinking that her parents killed each other in a horrible argument. but him giving her that knowledge that it was actually him changes her entire life, and it's really profound. It's a lot better, in my opinion, than the ending of Identity, and even more touching than the ending of Ultimatum. For me, the Bourne Supremacy is just as good as Bourne Identity, if not even slightly better, and a lot of that is due to just how fast-paced and intense it is. There's an amazing foot chase sequence in Berlin, there's 2 great car chases, and the character of Jason Bourne is on this intense revenge path, and you just feel so locked in with him because you feel that pain of what he went through with Marie, because you've already seen Identity, you feel that relationship brought up, and then in this film, when she dies, it's so heartbreaking that you genuinely want this guy to get some more answers. And it's exciting as hell. The Bourne Supremacy is tons of fun, and I'm gonna give it an A. It's a damn good action movie, and it surprised me just like Identity did when I first saw it, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. They were switching directors who knew where they could take the story, but it was just as good, if not better. So guys, stay tuned for my review of the Bourne Ultimatum coming very soon, as well as Jason Bourne at the end of the month, and something special that I'm working on. Something very, very cool. I'm excited to bring it to you. Hello?
Stuckmann?
Hey, John. What's going on?
I'm coming for you. I know you have an advance ticket to Jason Bourne. It will be mine. Goodbye.
Okay.